guys, The Curious Owl here, and this week's Top 5 Wednesday topic is looking at books that could possibly be future classics. This is going to be in an order where 5 is one that I think is least likely to be a classic but still would be a classic, and the first being the most likely to me that would be a classic. Coming in at number 5 is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. I think that this will be a classic in the terms of it being a paranormal, supernatural classic, because when this book came out, it was really, really popular. The movie actually ended up, from what I know, being really, really good in terms of it being a great adaptation of the book. I think that just with the fact of it being so dark and creepy and having some very, very interesting dynamics in terms of the children that are involved with this story, I think it's going to be a classic because most people, when they think of paranormal stories, a lot of them will typically go for Miss Peregrine's, and rightly so, because it's a really, really interesting paranormal supernatural story that is worth exploring and worth getting into to find out what exactly is going on with this kind of going back in time scenario. And number 4 is the City of Bones series by Cassandra Clare. Now, I've only read the first one, but because of the amount of books that are within the Shadowhunter Chronicles, it's already been essentially deemed a classic series when it comes to YA supernatural, not exactly paranormal, but just kind of anything dealing with magic, basically. It's considered a classic at this point. And number 3 is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. Now, I think this one's going to be a classic for me because it's just such a great action-packed story. I will rant and rave about this book so much because of how much I loved this book. It was so good. It's perfect for people who are into the Marvel series or into DC or anything regarding superheroes, because this whole book is basically about superheroes, and it's so great. The dialogue is absolutely fantastic and witty, and I love the main characters, Nova and Adrian. They are so different, but they are so in sync at the same time with what they have in common. I love this book so much, and I really think that with the next 2 books coming out, that Marissa Meyer is going to cement herself in this world and make it become a wonderful classic superhero young adult story. At number 2, in a more contemporary setting, is The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. I just think that this is such a great story that discusses the Black Lives Matter movement and police brutality, that this is one of those contemporaries that everyone talks about, and it's a great story and sends a great message about what exactly is going on in the world with these things about police brutality and affecting especially the minorities of the world. And finally, my number 1 pick, which I have been raving about since I finished the second book, that is the Ember and the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. I think honestly for me this is going to be a high fantasy classic because I just love this world. It's so well developed. These characters are so wonderful, and they're so well developed within the first and second book that it seems that it's almost impossible for them to grow even more in the third and fourth book. I just think that this is one of the best young adult high fantasies that we've seen so far. So there you guys go. Those are my top 5 books that are going to hopefully be future classics. I feel like I did a pretty good job of picking books from different genres that I think will be really, really great classics in the future. And I hope that in the future it ends up being that these books are classics, but you know, time will tell. Time will tell whether or not people continue to like these books, and we'll see if anything will beat the Harry Potter series, because I feel like that's the one that people are still stuck on as being a classic, is the Harry Potter series, and I would not disagree with that by any means, but I think it's time that we start looking at books that have the potential to become classics in the next 10 years. So thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below and subscribe to become an Owlette in our flock, and I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys!